Hey guys, I'm back. I wanted to jump in here and hang out with you for a little bit. This is one of those elusive speed builds from me that we don't necessarily get into these much anymore. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with oh, I don't want you all to see how I build it, or I'm self-conscious about the pieces, that I use, or if I mess up. It's not really necessarily like that with me per se, as much as with speed builds. I don't do them often anymore because I find myself rushing a lot when I do speed builds. I don't know what it is. It's just something that ticks in my mind when I know that the screen's being recorded, like the clock is ticking. And so I wish I wasn't like that, but I just can't help it. So I've learned to get away from the speed builds, and I still have a lot of fun doing what I typically call just presentation builds, where I build off screen, off camera, and then just bring you in each episode and kind of show you what's happened. But I know a lot, especially over the last year or so, a lot of you guys are like, oh, I wish you really did time lapse. And so here's a little, to throw in a little bit of time lapse for your way if you've ever asked me that over the last year or so. I think this is probably the last time I actually really got into time lapse builds, but this was fun. I was in Gatlinburg for a little bit this weekend, but more so I was in Pigeon Forge, and we had lunch at JT Hannah's restaurant right there on the Pigeon Forge, the main strip, and it was like an ice house themed restaurant, almost like an ice warehouse where people from town could come in, and it's a real place, back in like the early, way back in like the 40s, 30s even, I believe. And people could come to this guy in his warehouse, and they could get these huge blocks of ice they could take home and put in their freezers, or their spring houses where they kept their milk, all of that stuff. And this JT Hannah guy was the Ice Man, and it just, the theming of it struck me. It was so cool. It really gave me Disneyland Jungle Cruise type vibes. Just all the barrels hanging from the ceiling. A lot of wood kind of mixed in with almost mixed in with metal. And I just really caught a vibe off that. Just sitting there, just looking around, waiting for our food to come out. And when it did, I just remember saying, as soon as I get home, I'm going to start on some kind of Jungle Cruise station, some kind of riverboat station. And lo and behold, I came home and did that. And this time lapse, it probably in real life, it would have been cool if I would have live streamed it, because this whole back of the building here, which this is going to be a 2-part series, this was about an hour and 45 minutes. So I sped it up like 0.610. And that has brought the video from an hour and 45 minutes to about maybe a little over 15 minutes. I didn't know if you guys actually would want to sit here. We could have probably chatted for 2 hours, but I didn't know if you'd really want to sit here for 2 hours. So that is where our time lapse has ended up striking back on us here. But I went with a heavy wood presence, wood decking. Wood with the rope fencing here. Kind of almost went with almost like a, what do they call the little fake roof here, the little faux roof? I want to say terracotta maybe. But yeah, I wanted it to really have a jungle wood, like it's been here a long time feel. And what I think we'll do when we jump into the real time, because right now I just kind of set the way you see the station right now is set up way too high to actually let guests board. But when I really first started this, like I said, coming from JT Hannah, this had started out as a restaurant actually. And then as I went a little further, I'm like, you know what, I think people would use this. I think people would get a lot more use out of this, particularly with Planet Zoo, if I made it a riverboat station over just like a generic restaurant that nobody would ever use or maybe never go in. And so that, where it kind of morphed at about 30 minutes in, I'm like, that's kind of what needs to happen. I want to make this a riverboat station, and I think it would be so cool to if I could wrap this up and really get a cool design going, to be able to put this on the workshop and let you guys really impose it into your builds. If you don't have time to make a station, or if that's not your forte, I think it could be a really cool little riverboat station. So what I'm working on right now is kind of like what I was thinking of, more so like a crow's nest, where one of the deckhands could be up in this tower and they're like gazing down the river and or gazing upstream, like waiting for the boats to come, waiting for the boats to come by and dock. So that kind of really just added some height, added some dimension to the back of this facade. Because like I said, and I was telling some people today on Facebook and Instagram, what we're building right now, we actually started this a little backwards. This is going to be the back of the riverboat station. So this is actually kind of like in Jungle Cruise. This is where you're gonna board back here, and then we've still got to work on the front because I have absolutely no front built. Just totally focused on this back facade, and it was really one of those instances where I just wanted to get this idea out of my head. I thought about it the whole day. We actually went to Pigeon Forge first, and then my little brother, he wanted to go to a record store that they have inside the Gatlinburg Mall. So we left lunch and then went up into Gatlinburg. That took like 2 hours to get up in there because of all the cars. But the whole time I was thinking, like, I cannot wait to get back and fire up Planet Zoo and see if I can make this idea happen. And so glad I just come back and made myself just, come down here and start on it and try to flesh out some of these ideas. The roof here kind of we went through a couple different iterations. You'll see in the real-time version what you actually end up seeing here with the time lapse is not how it actually ended up. I actually ended up making like a little connection piece up on top of the roof. I flipped the roof piece around, like the piece that you see right now is gone, but we'll jump in and I'll let you see how it all turned out. Really started raining on us right here. Like I said, I would say around this point I started pivoting away from restaurant. I actually went back and forth a little bit, to be honest, but this point right here, especially when I got this tower in, I knew I wanted to go full on riverboat station, and that's kind of ultimately what we ended up going with, and that's what'll bring us a part two. So and also too, Rim Exotics actually told me earlier today, they were like, Suyana Zoo needs a riverboat ride, and I think that is an awesome idea. Actually, a couple of you guys have told me that in the past, like, is Suyana ever going to have a monorail, or is it ever going to have a riverboat ride? And I think maybe building this station can kind of kickstart that a little bit. So I'm really, really intrigued by that. I didn't build this in Suyana. This was just like I said, it was a come home and let's get started type moment. And so I didn't even go into Suyana. I just opened up a blank map and just started plugging away. So this could be the next little expansion, kind of like the expansion of Suyana's story. But also, like we said, I'm kind of just putting on hold anything with Suyana, or I was putting on hold anything with Planet Zoo until this idea popped up. But until we hear something about the DLC, I know you guys are kind of probably tired of me whining about waiting on a new DLC, but that's just kind of where my mind is right now. I'm afraid if they, give us a bunch of new scenery pieces or roof pieces, wall decorations, I'm in a holding pattern right now. I really want to wait and see kind of what they're cooking or what's up their sleeve. And I know we've kind of been chatting back and forth a lot about, maybe, what's going on in the world, slowing things up. I know that the Steam database is absolutely cram-packed with changes. If you go look at the history right now, they are doing stuff. It seems like every few hours, there is new stuff like dev trunks updating. They're changing descriptions of things. And if you ever want to look at that, just go to Google and type in Planet Zoo Steam DB, like David Barron. And I think you will, you'll if you look down towards the bottom and you see the history, you will definitely see that it's definitely not quiet. So these guys aren't sitting at home waiting to like get the word to come back to the office. Things are definitely happening. It was kind of like my buddy Michael said, though, if they would just come out and tell us, like if there's a delay or sit tight, there's stuff coming. We're working on it, but it has been just definitely quiet right now. And like I said in the last video, when I was on here kind of telling you guys how I wanted to wait, I don't have any news. There is nothing, I have nothing to report right now. It is dead silent. I haven't heard anything from Shantae. Really, it seems like since Bo's left, everything has you'll notice they'll put out the little tweets and stuff, but it's all Sprout Social. So they probably sat down at the beginning of the week and they plan out the little workshop reveals or an animal fact. That stuff's put into a spreadsheet and then it's just sent out every day. So I just really don't know what's going on. I wish I had some answers for you guys about what's coming down the pipe, but I just don't yet. I don't even have a do you want to try out the new pack NDA type deal. So we'll just have to see. I think a lot of us are kind of in a wait and see pattern with Planet Zoo right now. I think a lot of people are under the impression that this next pack needs to pack a little bit of a punch. I don't think probably going 3 or 4 months and only getting 3 or 4 animals, and maybe 2 exhibit animals. I think that's going to cause the community team, it's going to cause the developers a lot of grief. If that ends up being the case, I think people are wanting a beefy DLC about right now. But we'll have to see. Zoofluencer, Paulsley, a lot of those guys, Mike Sheets, Eamon, a lot of them are still coming out with really killer builds right now. Really enjoying that. Rudy still pumping out builds. I'm sure there's a couple creators that I keep it up with. I just can't think of the names right now. Poison Blade with Kayan Al-Bashar. He's still going with that. That's a really awesome build. Really palace style. If you're into those massive fantasy type builds, a lot of custom work with Poison Blade. I love checking in with him a couple times a week and seeing what he's been up to. But yep, so like I said, guys, let's go ahead. We will wrap up this time-lapse portion and we'll jump into the real time, and I'll show you where the entrance side is still totally blank. But we will probably, after I get done recording this, I actually have to go to work here in just a little bit, so I'll probably start recording. I'll probably start another time lapse and actually building on the entrance tomorrow morning, so it may be ready for Tuesday-ish, Tuesday or Wednesday, kind of just depending on how the front, the actual entrance, kind of ends up fleshing out. But I'm making good progress with the backside, so I'm really kind of enjoying this whole facade and kind of what we have going on here. So I'll just keep plugging away at it and see what we have going on. And but anyways, guys, yeah, let's jump over to the real time real quick, and I will show you a little more detail. Hold on one sec. I know I'm acting stupid, but being dumb, maybe just a little bit foolish. I feel so young. Drunk, I've never seen you clearer than now. We're flying high, floating somewhere up in the clouds. Going out of ourselves, can you feel it? Almost like I don't know if it's real, 'cause when we're doing our
with like wheels that won't stop turning. So take me on a trip, 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 now trip, trip, trip. Oh, flick that switch, kill the lights.
Alright guys, so here is what we're working with. This is our little makeshift Jungle Cruise station. And like I said, you know, right now it's kind of way up out of the water because I was really, remember, like I said, it was going to start out as a restaurant. So I envisioned like having the people setting up here that wanted to eat outside, and they could kind of look down into the crocodile lagoon. And then, you know, once I really got it started, though, I was like, well, when I wanted to do the riverboat station, I'm like, well, we can probably take out a section of these ropes. And, you know, that we'll have the people actually queuing up to get on. And, you know, once you guys get it in your hands, you could, you know, bring it down level to the water, and I think it would still work. And this, like I said, I really like the overgrowth. I like bringing in the metal right here, mixed in with the wood pieces. I think that just come out really, really killer. It's like Poison Blade was saying today too. I was able to really bring in pops of color, but not really, you know, not going overboard with it. Still give it that like it's been here a very long time, overgrowth, you know, type of situation. Up there, like as far as the crow's nest goes, that's what that ended up turning into. I kind of brought the roof line, made it a little cleaner, brought a door to put in right there. So, you know, people were making their way up out into the tower. You've got your main door kind of right here. I'm not sure if that would be a facade or, you know, just kind of like a fake door, like theming goes as far as the guests, because you'll notice I went ahead and left this part open because I'm envisioning the guests actually walking in from that way, and they kind of, you know, they get ready to board. They get ready to board the boats from here, from kind of like this angle. So yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking on that. Really like the implied upper level up here with the windows. Got a little custom shutters up there, and I also brought in. I figured, you know, they wouldn't necessarily in the middle of the jungle need a fireplace, probably so much so to keep warm as to maybe cook with, and, you know, make you know, roasts and stews and soups. So that is kind of like the little what I kind of went with the backstory of them having a chimney. And then, of course, like we said before, this is what needs to be worked on next. I'm not planning an interior on this. Maybe one of you guys, once I get it on the workshop, you can maybe toy around with that a little bit. But I am more of a facade type of guy. So that's all I'm going to be going with on this. I really think this little piece, remember this giant vine, if I show you, just using it subtly to creep up, really subtle, creeping up the chimney. But you can see it's actually, if you haven't used this piece in a while, it is a huge piece. And you know that would just kind of, that's a little too much if you leave it out like that. But if we back off and I exit this, now you can see it kind of like mixes in with the other vines. See how it just really blends in, acts like it's got a hold of the building, and just not seeming like it's overdone. Because obviously you don't want it to be too overdone, because they're still using this building. It's not like it's been abandoned. So, you know, it's kind of the flair I went with on that. And but yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys. You guys have to let me know if you have any questions. We got the little barrier down here I thought you could use, you know, just to keep from little critters and stuff from getting underneath the station. I actually have some more ideas about expanding this as well, maybe tying it into the entrance. I want like a boat barn to go with this, or like a boat loft, if you will, you know, where they could work on the boats, and you'll see what I mean in part 2 if it doesn't have to end up being extended to a part 3. Let's just see how many pieces. Let's see how many pieces this is right now. Just the base kind of our idea we're going for. 280. So see, not really bad at all. And that's adding in a lot of this foliage as well that you guys may not even use. You're just probably after the base building here. But yeah, we are sub 300 right now on this. So your piece count is good. You should be able to pick this up no problem. I just got to get you an entrance built. So, but anyways, guys, yeah, I guess I've kept you here long enough. Don't forget to let me know in the comments section down below what you think of this build, and just like what you'd like to see added, or if you want me to do some more of these little one-off builds, let me know. And yeah, like always, thank you for stopping by and hanging out with me. And I will catch you in the next video. Thank you. See ya.